Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Whatever could be keeping the seven dwarfs? Said Snow White. It's getting late. They should have been home from the diamond mine by now. While she waited, Snow White busied herself tidying up their cottage in the woods. What messy little fellows, she said. Just then, Happy came through the front door. He tugged on Snow White's long yellow skirt. Snow White, he said, come quickly. A young deer is hurt in the woods. Oh no, cried Snow White. The poor thing! We must hurry. They soon reached a small clearing. Everyone stood in a circle around the deer. Thank goodness you're here, Snow White, said Doc. This little fellow's in trouble. He must be cold, said Snow White, covering him with her long cape. Baby, he's just tired, said Sleepy, yawning. A nice long rest should do the trick. Why, you could be right, Sleepy, said Snow White. But he's not closing his eyes, so I think it might be something else. Maybe he has a cold, said Sneezy. He looks like he might feel a bit stuffy. Well, that's possible, but then he probably would have stayed in his thicket until he was feeling better, said Snow White. I know, said Happy. Maybe he's feeling sad and needs a little cheering up. I'm sure that would help Happy, said Snow White. But he looks like he may need something more than a merry story or a song. I don't know for sure, said Bashful softly. But perhaps he's too shy to let us know what's the matter. We all feel shy sometimes, don't we, Bashful? Said Snow White. Then Dopey started pacing back and forth and pointing over his shoulder. Said Snow White. You could be right, Dopey. He could be lost. I'll bet I know what happened, grumbled Grumpy. The wicked queen probably cast a spell on him. She's always up to no good. Suddenly, Doc pushed his way past the others and approached the deer. May I take a look? He asked, adjusting his eyeglasses. Doc knelt down beside the deer. Well, would you look at that? Cried Doc. The poor deer must have stepped on a thorn. Ouch! Doc gently removed the sharp thorn. The deer jumped up and licked him. Oh, how relieved you must be, cried Snow White. Now run along home, she said to their new friend. Your family must be worried about you. The deer licked Snow White's hand and ran off into the forest. Snow White and the seven dwarfs went home to their little cottage. I am so proud of each and every one of you, said Snow White, smiling at her friends. You each did your best to help a friend in need. That night, Snow White and the seven dwarfs made a delicious dinner. Then, when they'd all eaten their fill, they sang and danced until it was time for bed.